Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Kristie.
And I'm Josh. We've got some more great Reddit stories for you today, so let's dive into the first one.
Am I the asshole for refusing to let a younger sibling tag along?
That's not a ton of info, but I guess you're not the asshole for not wanting your little sibling to follow along.
My daughter turned 9 at the start of the month. She wanted to have a paint and sip party where basically she and her friends make crafts while they drink dirty sodas. Sodas with creamer or fun non-alcoholic mix-ins. I thought it was fun. I agreed she could invite 7 girls, including a close friend of hers, Brittany. Brittany has been over our house several times. Almost every time, Brittany has shown up with her younger 5-year-old sister. I end up entertaining the 5-year-old so the girls can play without her in their hair. The mom has never asked if the little sister can come. She just shows up.
Brittany's parents are those people who just drop off both siblings.
Yup. Free babysitting. I once mentioned something to the mom and she said culturally it's normal for them. I made it clear she doesn't play with the older girls and she was fine with that. I don't mind entertaining her, so I've let it go. But my daughter made it clear she didn't want the younger sister there at her party. Brittany also mentioned to me once she wished her sister didn't follow everywhere.
Culturally, you're supposed to just do all my babysitting for me. That's what that sounds like.
I feel like you can't use that excuse when everybody involved in the situation is not part of your culture.
No, it sounds like an excuse to get free babysitting.
The issue with the party is that I won't have time to entertain a younger child. Before sending out the invitations, I called Brittany's mom and explained this invitation was just going to be for Brittany. Her mom seemed offended and said her younger had to come. I said I understood if her family did things differently, but this invite was just for Brittany, so if she couldn't come, let me know. Her mom later said Brittany would be there and promised it would just be Brittany.
I mean, this is like an event that you're probably paying per guest. So it seems completely normal to say, hey, this invite's just for one kid. I'm not paying for 2.
Come party time, Brittany's mom arrives with both girls. Both girls start walking in. I briefly distracted the 5-year-old and compliment her outfit. I then tell her mom what time the party will be over. Mom is trying to nudge her youngest in. I gently step in front and say warmly, "We'll see you later." The little girl looks up at me with big eyes and asks, "Can I play too?" I gently tell her, "This is for the big girls. I'm sure you'll have fun with your mommy. See you later." And I shut the door.
That's honestly the best way you could have handled that. She was very clearly trying to use the cute little girl as guilt.
Yeah, to promise that it will just be Brittany and then try and sneak that little girl into your house and then guilt you into letting her in. That's not cool.
Sorry, this was at their house?
Yes.
Oh, for some reason, I thought they were going to like a paint and sip place.
Yeah, they do have those. It's usually like for adults and you do like wine and painting and stuff, but...
Yeah, but I don't see why the place couldn't do it with like soda for a kid's party. But if it's at your house, that kind of nullifies my earlier comment about having to pay for the extra kid.
Well, you still need to pay for the supplies because canvas and paints for each kid.
Yes, I suppose you do. So you probably didn't prep enough for this extra kid to tag along. Probably purposely did not prep enough for this extra kid to tag along.
So yeah, I assume doing a DIY version of this at home is cheaper than like going to an actual place that does these kind of events, but it costs money to buy supplies for it. The party was fun. The girls all slept over. Next morning, Brittany gets picked up by her mom. Once Brittany is in the car, her mom tells me that I was rude and her youngest cried all night. I said her youngest had to learn she wasn't invited to everything and reminded her of our talk. Mom called me heartless and said I don't understand as I only have one child. I pointed out even if I had another, my children would learn they don't always get invited. This mom has trashed me to other moms. Some were on my side, others on hers. Am I the asshole?
No, you're not the asshole. Kids need their own spaces from their siblings. Like, that's just part of raising a kid in a healthy manner, I think, is for them not to be a package deal all the time. And with like that size of an age gap, I imagine Brittany doesn't want to be known as the girl who always has her little sister tagging along. Like, I know when you get older, 4 years isn't that much, but at 9 and 5, that's half a lifetime.
That is a big age gap. Like the things the 5-year-old is interested in, the 9-year-old is not.
Correct. So when they're like 18 and 22, that's not much at all. But right now, that's huge.
Top comment, NTA. I don't know what culture makes the oldest daughter have to drag her younger siblings to every social function, unless it's a culture where moms are too lazy to teach their younger kids that they're not entitled to take part in the older sibling's social life. That mom is being an asshole and abusing your goodwill.
Yeah, it really sounds more like the culture of free babysitting to me than anything else.
OP replies, "What's weird is the only 2 times Brittany's sister hasn't been over when she is when the sister has plans elsewhere."
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't find that weird at all. It really sounds like mom just wants a weekend off.
Someone says, "The mother just wanted a break, lied to you, and tried to shove the other one through the door and run." If you gave that description to the other mothers, I'm sure they would not only be entertained, but they would completely understand.
Yeah, I think the mothers that are on her side either are pulling the same stunt or did not get the correct story.
NTA, whatever her culture is, it doesn't trump your boundaries. You were firm and fair. You let her know ahead of time, and it's her job to teach her younger daughter how to manage her emotions. Her rules stop at your doorway. For her to try to insist otherwise is breathtakingly rude. I agree with others who said that she's just trying to get a free babysitter out of this. So yeah, Reddit is firmly NTA.
Am I the asshole for saying 4th time's the charm when my uncle talked about getting married again?
Ooh, burn. Okay, that is a little rude, but also funny.
On Sunday, we were meeting at my uncle's for a kind of pre-Christmas meetup because one of my aunts had to leave today. I was with my dad and uncles in the yard. My dad asked my uncle how his plans for getting married were going. So, I should give some context here. My uncle's first marriage ended almost 2 decades ago. I have 3 cousins from that marriage, whom I used to be close to, but their mom got custody and we rarely see them. Then around 8 years ago, he got married to a woman overseas, brought her here, she already had a guy here, she called the cops on him for some made-up thing, and when he came back from a night in jail, she'd left. This is what I've heard. I was in college at the time. The marriage didn't even last 1 term for me to have time to come back home and meet her. It lasted a week, I think.
Wow, that is short.
Then 3 years ago, he got married overseas again. This time her parents changed her mind, so they got divorced while there. Naturally, I never met her either. So when my dad said that, I looked at my uncle and asked him if he was really looking to get married again. He said yeah, that he thinks he needs a partner in life. I just, without thinking, said, 4th time's the charm. My uncle didn't take it well, while my other uncle found it hilarious. I'm pretty sure my dad did too, but he was being diplomatic about it. Today my mom told me that my uncle had told my dad it was really rude and disrespectful of me to say what I said. She said to just apologize the next time I see him. I said sure, whatever, I'll apologize. This uncle has always been a fun uncle who would hang out with us cousins, so I thought he could take a joke, but I'll apologize, sure. Was I the asshole?
Yes and no. I mean, that is an asshole thing to say. But if someone is on your 4th marriage, you gotta expect a few jokes about it, because you're really bad at marriage.
It was absolutely an asshole thing to say, but it was also a sick burn. And I can really respect that. But since your uncle did not take it as a sick burn, oh, you got me. Yeah, you ended up being the asshole. But it's also at like a level where saying sorry will probably fix it.
Yeah, all of the other uncles, all of Uncle's brothers, also thought this was hilarious and wish that they had come up with it and said it first.
Top comment, you're the asshole because it was unnecessary to say. Nonetheless, I laughed out loud. Apologize because that one hurt. Funny, but it hurt someone you love.
I do also get this is the fun uncle. You think he can take a little bit of ribbing. Oops, no, he can't. I'm so sorry.
I mean, I don't even know your uncle, but I would just assume this is a soft spot that you jabbed at. You're the asshole. I mean, I get why you said it, and everyone is thinking it, but it's still a joke at your uncle's expense. Apologize when you see him. Clearly, this is a sensitive subject for him. Have you ever had someone try to tease you about something you were really raw about? If so, you probably didn't think it was funny. Have you ever been the butt of a joke everyone thought was hilarious except you, and they all had a great time laughing at you while you stood there? If so, you probably didn't think it was funny. Also, he's a generation older than you, which I'm sure doesn't help with all of the above. You're the asshole. So Reddit's kind of unanimous here. You're the asshole, but it was funny.
I just almost feel like how do you not make that joke? Like, he set it up and it's just sitting there waiting to be said. Everybody's thinking it.
Oh, he set it up perfectly. But your dad and your other uncle were both not taking that bait. So they probably knew that this was a sensitive subject. But That is a hard one to resist.
Hey, if you're enjoying this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us.
Yeah, we really appreciate your support, and it lets us know we should keep making fun content like this for you.
Am I the asshole for making my daughter's boyfriend buy a new shirt?
Ooh, that could mean so many things. Like, did he destroy one of your good shirts and you want him to buy a new one? Or did he turn up for a date wearing, like, one of those bikini shirts? And you're like, no, you gotta go buy a new shirt, bud. I need more info here.
Okay, can you please settle a mild dispute for my family? Last week, my daughter, 19 females, boyfriend, 19 male, came for dinner. He arrived, rang the bell, and I answered the door. He came in, took off his jacket, and that's when I saw it. He was wearing a t-shirt that said, "It's not gonna suck itself."
Oh, so it was worse than the bikini t-shirt.
I took one look at that shirt and asked him if he had any money. He said no and asked why. I told him that the shirt showed a marked lack of respect for both my daughter and my wife. I pulled two 20s out of my wallet and quietly ushered him back out the door and toward the Walmart 3 miles away, and told him to buy a more respectful shirt and come back with it on.
Wow, you actually handled that way more calmly than most dads would.
Mind you, this whole exchange took place between him and I without an audience. He was gone for 15 minutes and came back with a nice polo shirt on. We had a nice dinner together and nothing was mentioned of the incident. The next day, my daughter came to me and her mother and told us what I did humiliated him.
It should have. He needed to be humiliated in this instance.
They aren't in breakup territory or anything, and no yelling or anything of the sort went on. My wife did tell me I could have handled it different. So, am I wrong for handling it this way? And if so, how could I have handled it better?
Well, this is a tough one for me to comment on, because the way that I was raised, the correct way to handle that would have been to rip the shirt off of him and then kick his ass back to his car and tell him to never see my daughter again.
My teenage daughter. You can't wear that kind of disrespectful stuff around me when talking about her like that.
No, I grew up country, okay? I know plenty of guys in my graduating class who at some point had to dive out of a girl's bedroom window and run across a cornfield while the girl's dad was firing a shotgun in the air. They weren't aiming at the kid, but the dads in the area you fire it up in the air just to put some fear of God in them.
I can't even imagine that. I guess I grew up too city for that.
And now that I'm older, I know a few dads who have done the shotgun in the air strategy to chase the boyfriend off, so I don't think it's a product of just like the times.
Top comment, you were very classy about it and even gave him the opportunity to get a new shirt instead of just going home and changing. NTA.
So I will add in kudos to the boyfriend for going and actually getting a new shirt and then having a nice dinner. It sounds like you both reacted very calmly in the moment. Having said that, when I was dating, I don't know if I would have gone and whined to my girlfriend about it after.
I don't think I would have ever admitted it. This would be a secret between me and Dad that we both took to our graves. But if he's bold enough to wear that shirt to a dinner with the parents, maybe he's one of those guys who doesn't see what the problem with that is, and he is offended that you made him go change.
I just can't imagine the mental gymnastics he went through where he thought that wasn't going to embarrass the hell out of his girlfriend turning up in a t-shirt like that.
And offend her parents. Why would you wear this to a dinner with the parents?
Right?
Someone commented, dude complained to the girlfriend just to complain. 19 is old enough to know not to wear a shirt like that to your girlfriend's parents' home. If he was my kid, he wouldn't have walked out of my house to go to his girlfriend's house wearing that because I would have told him to change. He needs to get over himself. OP did the right thing in a way where there was less friction. There's no way he would have been allowed to wear that shirt at my dinner table.
I think that this is a good learning opportunity for your daughter, that she should not be dating anybody who owns a shirt like that. At 19, he should know that even owning a shirt like that is going to get him in a lot of awkward social situations. Like, he must have been trying to pick a fight, right?
Yeah, a lot of Reddit comments are along the lines of, he's lucky you didn't just kick him out and tell him to never come back.
Yeah, I feel like my verdict here is you're not the asshole and that you underreacted.
On to the update.
Okay.
After reading these comments and listening to everyone's point of view, I sat my daughter down this morning and asked what her boyfriend actually said to her. This changes my opinion of him. Apparently, he'd not told my daughter what the phrase on the shirt was, but did tell her accurately what I said to him and asked him to do. He didn't use the word humiliated. That was my daughter's interpretation. Her rush to defend him came from our examples. Apparently, she took note of the times I've defended my wife and vice versa. She also took note of our disagreements in private after the fact. She's going to talk to him later tomorrow and follow up on why he thought the shirt was appropriate for the family setting. I'll update again after that conversation.
That is good information to get. I was a little worried about daughter's self-confidence.
Update 2. My daughter called him about an hour ago, and this will be informative. She asked him why he'd not told her what the shirt said when he talked to her. His reply was telling. Because it was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing? Why did you turn up in the shirt then?
Then she went on to ask him why he wore it originally, and he admitted that the shirt had been a gift from his older brother, 21, and that the older brother had dared him to and called him chicken when he objected.
Okay, that explains everything to me. That is absolutely the type of shirt an older brother would buy for a younger brother and then bully into wearing on a date. And then the younger brother gets his ass dumped. And it's a grudge that the younger brother will hold until they're both dead.
Dumb sibling crap, apparently. She went on to tell him that none of what he had done was cool and that she really liked him and he'd always been kind to her. She said she wasn't breaking up with him, but that these steps needed to be done. First, he needed to explain to his parents the entire situation. Second, he needed to show up in person to our home and bring the money for the shirt and, as she put it, put in a whole ass-kissing session that included the explanation of the dare. She said that if this was handled well, they could talk about moving forward and what that looked like. After the phone call, she talked to her mom and I and admitted that she forgot her worth. She said that as long as she'd been alive, I had never gone out of my way to embarrass her mom, and that I'd always been respectful and not let anyone be disrespectful to her mom. That made me feel good. So she wasn't going to settle for less. Good for her.
Yeah, absolutely good for her. Even if it was just dumb sibling crap, she still needs to have that level of self-dignity where she knows that this is not an okay thing for a boyfriend to do. And honestly, now that I know it was dumb sibling junk and not like he thought this was a good idea, if he apologizes correctly, I would be willing to forgive his dumb ass.
Update number 3. This will make those of you following this saga laugh. I received a call this evening from boyfriend's parents. Firstly, they are mortified and extremely apologetic.
That's great. Like, the more information we get, the softer I'm getting on boyfriend. It sounds like he comes from a good family if they're also mortified.
Secondly, and the whole best part of this update, and I have their permission to squeal, is that his parents are on Reddit and commented on my post in support of the way I handled the situation. They told me that they love my daughter and that we'd raised her right and had not raised their son to show this level of disrespect for anyone, let alone his girlfriend. Apparently, boyfriend was following up on one of my daughter's conditions and went to talk to his parents. As the story unfolded, his mom reached for her phone, opened Reddit, and yelled, "Is this about fucking you?" So the mom read the story and was like, wow, this guy handled this so gracefully, because this kid's a fuck up.
And mom was definitely reading that story and being like, I'm so glad I've raised my kids better than this.
Nope, and then it turns out it's her kid.
Oh, poor mom.
To quote the boyfriend's dad, as the son read the first half paragraph, he died a little inside. There's a fourth update, but in the interest of keeping things short, boyfriend and his parents came over for dinner with girlfriend and his parents, and everything went nice and is very nice and lovely, and everything's okay.
Well, that's good. It sounds like both boyfriend and his parents are properly apologetic, and it also sounds like they're doing a good enough job apologizing for their dumbass older brother, son, whatever. But all the guys that I grew up with that had older brothers, I can 100% see this being the type of situation that those two would get into.
Aren't you glad we only have older sisters?
Yeah, right? I got fashion advice. A lot of my friends that have older brothers did get a little bit of a rougher treatment from their older siblings.
But yeah, I just am glad that things seem to have worked out in the end, and that OP is okay with his daughter dating this kid, even though he seemed like a dumbass initially. He's really a good kid.
Am I the asshole for joking with a girl I'm seeing that she should be more prudent with her parents' money?
If it's just a girl you're seeing and not even your girlfriend, I feel like that might be a bit of an overstep. Like, don't comment on other people's budgeting and money spending unless you're in a relationship with them. It's none of your business.
Hi, I've been seeing a girl for the past couple of weekends. I like her, and it's been going well, and I could see us taking this to the next step. Last Sunday, I was at her place, and in the morning, she wanted to go to the supermarket to buy stuff. I had to do a grocery run myself, too, so it was convenient and kind of nice to do it together. Before we left, she was looking around her room for a wallet. I had pointed out that her purse was right there, but she said that that one didn't have her dad's credit card. For context, she's 22, graduated this year, and has a good job. At the supermarket, she was putting stuff from the bakery section in her cart without looking at any prices, barely looking at the item even. Now, I know my own experience of having to grind without any handout may be coloring my opinion, and that's why I'm here. I joked that she should cut her parents some slack, and she smiled back at the joke. When she bought 2 cereal boxes, I asked her why she was getting 2. She said it depends on her mood, and again, since the mood was light, I just teased, don't bankrupt your parents all at once. She got a bit defensive and misinterpreted the joke and said they're her parents, not mine, and that they won't go broke because she got cereal. I tried to clear the air that that's not what I meant, and she said it was okay.
That is kind of what he meant.
Since then, our communication has been a bit cold. I asked if everything was good. She said yeah. She couldn't see me this weekend, which is when I would have personally liked to clear the air again. So I'm just kind of overthinking this, I guess, and wanted to know if I was the asshole for my joke.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you're the asshole. At this point in the relationship, her finances are none of your business. How much her parents give her, none of your business. How much she spends on groceries, none of your business. However, like going grocery shopping with her, if you had just noticed, hey, she's just throwing stuff willy-nilly in the cart and not checking prices, I think maybe we might not be financially compatible and decided to break it off with her. That would have been okay. But like bringing it up and like pointing it out to her and telling her that she's taking things too far with her parents' money, no, keep that to yourself.
Yeah, 22 is still kind of a normal age to be getting some financial assistance from your parents. And I don't think buying 2 boxes of cereals is such a crazy thing.
Yeah, if it's on sale, I stock up.
Or just one day she wants Frosted Flakes and the next day she wants Cheerios. Like, is that so crazy? She's still going to eat both boxes.
Oh, I was assuming 2 boxes of the same cereal. And I'm like, yeah, I would do that because I get on a kick where I eat WeChex every single day for like 2 weeks. And you need more than 1 box to last that long.
So she said that it depends on her mood, which one she wants to eat, which I interpret as 2 flavors.
Oh, okay. That makes sense too. Yeah. Sometimes you want WeChex and sometimes you want Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, if anything, she's just saving herself from having to go grocery shopping a few days sooner because she's stocking up. Like, I don't know. We usually have like 3 or 4 boxes of cereal in our house at any given moment. It's just an easy meal.
Yeah, which is making me feel like this guy who thinks you are not allowed to buy things from the bakery because it's too expensive. You can only have 1 box of cereal at a time because you must be frugal. He is not going to be financially compatible with this girl, and maybe they should just call it off now. If they continue the relationship, he's going to resent her spending and her depending on her parents for money their entire relationship.
Top comment. You weren't joking. You were put off by her buying groceries with her dad's card. I think you're exaggerating, to be honest. She bought some bread and 2 boxes of cereal. You don't know the arrangement she has with her parents.
Yeah, he wasn't joking. He was judging.
But she didn't even look at the prices, Kristie. Who knows how many hundreds of dollars that bread was?
If you buy it often enough, you know what the price is. You don't need to check every time.
That's actually true. I didn't even think about that angle. You're right. When it's something that I'm buying again, I just know how much it costs. Or maybe I looked at the sales before I went to the grocery store.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He's just being very judgy. I don't like him.
Another comment. In my opinion, you're the asshole. You don't know the level of wealth she has. You don't know the level of wealth her parents have. You don't know what arrangement she has with her parents. What she buys is her business. You have no business dictating what she buys. It wasn't exactly like she was getting 10 pounds of lobster at Costco and walking over to the meat case and getting Wagyu. Not that it would have changed anything. You way overreacted and stepped over a giant line into a realm you had absolutely zero business being in.
I keep saying he should break up with her because they're not financially compatible, but as this girl, I would take this as a red flag. He's trying to be very controlling about what she spends her money on. I wouldn't like that and be like, let me buy what I want. It's not your money. I would also think we're very financially incompatible, and I might not want to live with someone who is penny pinching all the time like that.
Yeah, and Reddit agrees with that. Those weren't really jokes. They came across as being critical of her relationship with her parents. And they're pretty unanimous in their "you're the asshole" verdict here.
Am I the asshole for not changing my language to appease an ignorant coworker?
You're not the asshole. Talk however you want, but you might be the asshole for calling them ignorant in the opening sentence.
I, 34 male, work in an office in a technical field with approximately 30 coworkers and higher-ups. The problem is I have a coworker, 28 female, Sarah. The problem started before Christmas when I went into the break room to answer a call from family overseas. We talked in my native language for about 10 minutes about family and friends from back home, and we were wrapping up the call. When I hung up, I saw Sarah looking at me with an angry look on her face. I asked her what was wrong, and she accused me of being racist. I was very confused, and then she said I used a racial slur, which confused me even more. She ran off, and in a few minutes, the HR director walked to my desk and took me to her office. After a very confusing conversation, I finally figured it out. One of the ways we say you in my native language sounds like a racial slur. Like barely, but I explained this to HR director, who was at first disbelieving. After a bit of Googling on my phone, I show her, and she relents that I am not racist, just a fluent speaker of my native language.
Okay, well, it's good that you didn't actually use any offensive terminology. I have to ask why coworker was listening to your conversation to that extent, because when people talk in another language on the phone next to me, I just tune them out completely.
Me too, because a lot of my coworkers are bilingual and speak another language, like especially with their families on the phone. Tune it out.
Yeah.
No clue.
Yeah, like if you're speaking English next to me, I pick up snippets and stuff. Another language, like nothing. It's just a stream of sound.
Then the HR director asked if there was any way I could not accept personal calls at work. I said, sure, if you make it a directive that no one can.
Yeah, well, fuck you for that little statement, HR director.
That seems like discrimination.
Right?
She balked at that and tried to hem and haw her way to make it so only I couldn't, but I kept gently nudging how prejudicial that sounded until she asked if there was any way I could not use that word when speaking my native language.
Hold on, why is HR director trying to make this your problem to this extent? Like, she could have easily just ended the meeting at this point and gone to the other coworker and said, hey, it's a misunderstanding. That could have been the end of this HR director.
I mused that not using that word would be possible, but it would make sentence structure meandering and almost too formal and clunky, so I'd rather not. She said that if it was possible, maybe I should. I asked if maybe she should stop using a New England accent.
I'm sorry, the word was you, wasn't it?
Yes.
How do you use sentences without that?
You go back to ye old English. One would like to know. Oh, no, wait, that's I. Wait.
It's hard, isn't it?
I would like to know what one has been up to lately.
You almost have to just always use their proper name every single time.
Right? It's so awkward. And like, if you're just talking, how do you remember to do that? I asked if maybe she should stop using a New England accent. She then thanked me for clearing up the misunderstanding and let me go back to work.
Good for you, OP. It sounds like you wore her down, and she deserved to be worn down.
Yeah, he's standing up for himself, and that's good. The HR director, before the holiday break, sent out an email explaining that there was a misunderstanding due to the use of a foreign language in the office and that we should respect everyone's cultures. A very open-ended and vague email that solved nothing.
That is the level of HR response that I want to this situation, though. Maybe a private note over to your coworker and saying, hey, maybe just don't listen in on other people's conversations.
My family rarely calls me at work simply because it's nighttime when I work, and they only call during my birthday and holidays, so this is not something really going to be an issue, and I would rather not try to find a way to dance around saying you in a conversation. I told the story to my friends during a Christmas party, and everyone asked if it was really a hill worth dying on.
What? For the HR director and for coworker, right? Not for you to die on. That's what they're saying, right?
Am I the asshole here for not trying to compromise with HR?
You shouldn't have to compromise with HR about saying the word you in your own language. That's a crazy thing. That's an insane ask.
Right? The one being racist here is Sarah, not you.
And HR.
Yes. Can you just not speak in your native language?
Like, does your family even speak English?
I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not as good as they speak their native tongue. Just the roundabout solution that she settled on to ask you just not to use you in sentences anymore.
Isn't HR's main job to, like, make lawsuits not happen and cut them off before it gets to that point. I feel like she's doing this the wrong way.
She's focusing on the wrong coworker is what she's doing.
Top comment. NTA, you may want to find a way to document this incident with Sarah and HR's awful response in case it comes up again. HR's response was insanely unethical and prejudiced and could be grounds for a discrimination complaint.
Thankfully, HR seems to have realized how big of an asshole they were being and just decided to resolve it with that vague-ass email. Like, if they did any sort of disciplinary action towards OP, yeah, absolutely. Look into a lawyer.
If anyone is interested, they're speaking Korean. So if you want to go look up what word we're talking about, that's on you. Because a lot of the comments in Reddit are like, what language? What are we talking about?
Yeah, we're not going to say it on this channel, obviously.
NTA, tell them you will happily stop using the word you in your native language if they stop using the word you in their native language. It may drive home how stupid this idea is. Insist that any HR policy that applies to you applies to everyone in 100% of the work situations. That's only fair.
That is only fair, and I love the idea of an entire office where no one can use the word you.
NTA, while a person may be excused for being a bit ignorant at first because of the similarity of the sounds, if they're told that that's a different word in a different language and are still uptight about it, and this goes for HR as well, it goes beyond ignorance and becomes racist towards you. They have no right to stop you from speaking any language just because they don't like the sound of some of the words. It's discrimination. Don't change your language to appease racists.
I've never worked in an office where I was so uncomfortable with my coworkers that I would have to run to HR and tattle before I just asked my coworker, hey, what was that word you kept saying?
There are so many words that in different languages sound like offensive things in other languages.
Yes, that's just a common thing, and you just gotta accept that. You see it a lot in like auto censorship programs where you can't use like a normal English word because it's a bad word in another language, and they're like, well, we're just gonna block it altogether even if it's surrounded by other letters. Am I the asshole for canceling a third date over a peanut allergy?
I mean, you don't have to date anyone you don't want to. You can stop going on dates with people at any time. Who has the peanut allergy, though? I'm curious.
A friend of mine set me up on a date with a coworker of hers. She said we were perfect for each other. Our first date was at a coffee shop, and then we arranged to meet up at a botanical garden the next week. While we were at the botanical garden, she told me about her peanut allergy, which she described as life-threatening. I told her that must be stressful, and she said it was. We arranged for a lunch date this week at the end of the date. After that date, I started thinking, I love peanuts and eat them all the time. I put peanut butter in and on a lot of stuff, including my dog's toys, which he then drags all over my apartment.
I never even thought about the dog toys you stuff with peanut butter and people with peanut allergies. But yeah, that'd be like all over all your furniture and floors. And if they have like the kind of allergy where like just contact with it sets them off, oh, that'd be bad.
Right? We regularly stuff those toys with peanut butter or like yogurt and all sorts of stuff.
Uh-huh.
I can't see a potential relationship with this woman ever progressing to a serious stage without me changing my diet and habits. At this point, we've only been on 2 dates, and I think it would be more respectful for her time to not go on a third. So I called her and told her I was sorry, but we need to cancel. She asked if I wanted to reschedule, and I apologized, but said I didn't think we would work out long term. She asked why, and I was honest. I said I really like peanuts and would be nervous about potentially harming her. She said there were a lot of safety precautions we could take to keep her safe, and I admitted I know that, but I don't want to do them.
I mean, that does seem fair. You'd have to never feed your dog peanut butter again. Because also, what if your dog eats peanut butter and then goes up and licks her? You can't eat peanut butter because you're smooching her.
Yeah, you would just have to completely change your diet.
I eat peanut butter every single day. I don't want to give it up. I don't think I would date someone who had a peanut allergy. Now, like my niece has a peanut allergy, but it's just like, don't touch her with peanut butter or like get it on her or let her eat it. And I just, wash my hands thoroughly before I go over to their house if I've had peanut butter. It's not someone I'm living with, though.
Yeah, and she's not to the extent where it is life-threatening if there's just like peanut butter hanging around in the air.
Yeah, it's not airborne, her allergy or anything. So I cannot imagine living with someone who had a severe peanut allergy with how much I love peanut butter.
She said, wow, and told me I'm immature. I apologized again, but she hung up. She told my friend what happened, and my friend is confused by my reasoning. She said her coworker said I'm a massive douche. I don't feel like I am. We only went on 2 dates. 2 dates doesn't imply any commitment. I asked her if she agreed I'm a douche. She said she's not sure, but that my logic is definitely weird. Do you guys think I'm the asshole?
No, you're allowed to break up with anyone if you think you're like not compatible, and it's better to do it early. Like, say you really don't like dogs and someone is a dog person. Well, you're not compatible. Time to break up. I feel like this is the same thing. Someone is super into video games and you really hate video games. Break up. This is why you're dating, is to find out if you're compatible, and you have found out that you're not. So now it's time to cut and run.
Like, the first 5 dates are just all about checking compatibility and learning all these quirks about the other person. I have not gone on like a 4th date with somebody because I decided they talked too fast and I could not understand what they were saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of seemingly stupid reasons to stop dating someone, but they're actually valid. And this one seems valid.
Yeah, and I like your dog example. Like, if she was deathly allergic to dogs and you owned a dog, which you do,
yeah,
you would stop dating because you're not going to give up your dog, even if she says, well, there's things we could try.
And now it's, you love your dog more than you love me? Yeah, I've only been on 2 dates with you. I love peanut butter more than I love you at this point.
Yeah, I love most things more than I love you at this point. We've been on 2 dates. We're essentially strangers. Top comment, you like peanuts more than you like her. That's fine. It could have just as easily been reversed if she didn't like dogs and dropped you because you have a dog, and that's fine too.
So top comment agrees with us.
My son has a life-threatening allergy to cashews and peanuts. I pray that any future dates would gracefully bow out if they knew they were not willing or able to remove those items from their life. Kissing someone after eating those foods can cause a reaction. You did the right thing, OP. I have to agree. I think it's respectfully bowing out is like the mature thing to do.
Yeah, and the way that his date and her friend reacted was not very mature.
Which is another reason not to go on a 3rd date with her.
Yeah, really.
My dog is literally named Empress Peanut Butter. You're not an asshole.
I can't imagine depriving our dogs of peanut butter. It's their favorite. They get out of bed in the morning just to lick my peanut butter sandwich knife.
Yeah, they do. It's one of their favorite things.
They're like, we cannot miss the packing of the lunch because that is when peanut butter occurs.
Not the asshole. I'm a vegan and nuts are in so many things I eat that I could never cope with dating someone allergic to them. I would accidentally kill them and then we'd both feel bad.
Oh, yeah. They both feel bad or dead.
3 dates in, if you're not getting a vibe, you don't need a reason. Just being transparent and saying you're not for me is enough.
I agree.
Yeah, and the comment section agrees too. You're not the asshole. 2 dates in, you really don't owe her anything other than a polite explanation of why.
Am I the asshole for telling my daughter, of course, she could move in with me without talking to my wife first?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Like, you really should talk to your spouse about things like that, but also it is your daughter. So I might be comfortable saying, hey, yeah, of course you can move back in, and just assuming it's okay. Let's hear more details, I think.
I have been married to Nora for about 5 years, together for 7, and she has a daughter who is 10. I have a 16-year-old daughter, Ray, from my first marriage, who lives in another state with her mom and has for the last 8 years. It was kind of a complicated situation where both of us were being transferred for work. We were already divorced, and we agreed my ex would take Ray and I would fly her out once a month for a weekend and have her every summer and every other holiday. It was a hard decision, but the 3 of us have made it work and are very happy. Nora has always said she loves Ray like she's her own, and I've never thought she was lying until recently.
Okay, I have to say your daughter being a minor changes a lot of things, because I was assuming that this was like somebody in their 20s being like, hey, Dad, I got kicked out of my apartment. Can I move in? A 16-year-old, you're responsible for her. Like, if she needs to move in with you, it's almost not a discussion.
Without getting into it in too much detail, Ray has been experiencing extreme bullying from boys at her school, and the school's response has been abysmal for the level of harassment. My ex and I have been in constant contact with the school, and the situation has only gotten worse all semester. Nora knows about all of this and has been very sympathetic when Ray was talking about it here over Thanksgiving. My ex and I have been planning on sending Ray to a private school in the area next semester. There's only one public and one private in the area. Things have apparently gotten worse since winter break started, and the boys have ramped up the bullying. Ray called me the other day completely devastated. My ex was around, but basically she doesn't see an end in sight, even with going to the new school. The parents in school have been useless, and she doesn't want to keep living like this. She asked if it would be possible to come and live here, basically switching the schedule. I told her of course we could, and that we would do everything in our power to help her with this. I talked to my ex a little after speaking to Ray, and while she's completely devastated about everything, she sadly agrees. She has said she's working on seeing about transferring to my area or even getting a new job, but agrees with me that Ray needs to get out of this situation before the new semester begins.
I mean, it seems like you and your ex are being excellent parents in this situation, and you're really trying to support your daughter. Initially, part of me was like, you should probably talk to your wife about it beforehand in the planning step and being like, hey, I really want to move her in here, and I just wanted to give you a heads up. Like, I don't think it's something that she's allowed to say no to, because it is your daughter and she needs this.
Mm-hmm.
But since Ray brought it up in conversation, I don't think the correct response should ever be, let me ask my current wife if you can move in.
Yeah, right? Like, no, you can't do that to your daughter. Be like, I will only support you on the condition that my wife agrees.
No.
Your daughter needs to feel like you support her no matter what when she's a minor like this.
I agree fully. I think that once your daughter brought it up to you and said, hey, can I move in? The correct answer is yes.
Do wish maybe the ex-wife had given you a little bit of a heads up that they were thinking about this, and then you could have discussed it with your wife before Ray brought up the conversation with you.
Yes, but it's possible that ex-wife didn't think it was going to get brought up in the conversation, so...
Or didn't think it would be a problem with the new wife.
So it's hard to throw her under the bus on this.
Yeah. After the call with Ray, I immediately called Nora to discuss with her. Even though she's been sympathetic to everything, she completely lost it at me, telling me that I should have said no until I talked to her. She said this was too much of a change for her daughter and would disrupt our home too much. And as my wife, she should have a veto on it.
No, she doesn't get a veto on this.
I was shocked and honestly appalled and told her she was being unreasonable. I wasn't going to tell my traumatized daughter she couldn't live with me because I needed my wife's permission. She hung up on me. That night I came home and she had sent her daughter to her mom's and she tried basically laying down the law. She didn't sign up to be a full-time stepmom. She was saying no to Ray moving in, and if I insisted on still going through with it, then she would have no responsibilities towards Ray, and if I asked her for help, she'd say no.
I mean, Ray is 16. She pretty much just survives on her own.
Yeah, she's pretty self-sufficient at that age.
And also, OP signed up to be a full-time stepdad.
Yeah.
Why does it only go one way on this street?
I also want to point out she knew that, she was going to be a stepmom. What did she think was going to happen, like, if the ex-wife died? They just send Ray into foster care? No, of course Ray was going to come live with them. She had to know that being a full-time stepmom was going to be a possibility.
Yeah, it's just completely unreasonable to think that you have a veto in this situation.
I basically told her this was ridiculous, goes against everything she agreed to when we got together, and if that's how she wanted it to be, I would reconsider many things I had agreed to, such as her being a stay-at-home mom starting next year. She kind of gave up / calmed down after that, especially because when her mom dropped her daughter off, she told us, without her daughter there, that Nora was being ridiculous and she was ashamed of her.
Oh, wow. Even mom's not on her side. Good grandma.
I thought that would be the end of it, but she's been bringing it up to some of our friends, and a few of them have agreed with her.
Fuck those friends. Why are they even giving an opinion? It's not their business.
Well, you're not on her side, and her mom's not on her side. Nora needs to get someone on her side.
Yeah, I think Nora needs to take the hint that maybe she's on the wrong side.
Although it seems like she stopped fighting it, she still insists that she wants no responsibilities towards Ray, who drives, does her own laundry, and is an independent young lady anyways. And that any and all decisions regarding Ray, especially financial ones, need to go through her before I say anything to Ray or my ex.
Okay, hold on. She doesn't want any responsibility except for all the financial ones?
But she also wants to be a stay-at-home mom and not earning any of her own income, but has a say over what you do with your income when it comes to your daughter.
She is going hard in the wrong direction here. I don't understand how she's taking every single wrong decision.
I haven't even asked her for help and have been working on registering Ray for school and finding her a therapist in the area myself. I'm starting to think this marriage is doomed, but I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong about what I did.
No, you're obviously not in the wrong here. You supported your daughter. That's always the correct decision. 16-year-olds are very self-sufficient. And it sounds like she's doing her own laundry and driving herself places. I imagine the only real responsibility she would possibly have is making an extra plate of dinner and some extra vacuuming and things. Like, it sounds like your daughter is going to handle most things on her own, and you're going to handle the rest.
I'm not sure I would feel comfortable bringing my daughter into this situation while still living with my wife, who so obviously resents her and resents her being there.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Like, Ray is facing bullying at school, and that's why she's moving. I don't want to move her into my house when it's obvious that my wife is going to start bullying her.
That is an amazing point, actually. I didn't even consider that angle. Yeah, your daughter does not deserve that.
I think I might be looking for a new place for me and my daughter before my daughter got there.
Apparently, because everything is so one-sided with your wife. Like, she's okay with you having to be a stepdad for her 10-year-old. I don't want to try to throw the 10-year-old under a bus, right? They're clearly innocent in this situation. But it's just the fact that your wife thinks that you should be a dad to her kid, but she doesn't want to be a mom to your kid.
OP does have a little edit to add. Our daughters get along amazingly despite their age differences, in fact. So it's not like the stepdaughter is going to be upset because they hate, she hates her stepsister and she's moving in. No, they like each other and get along. So what is this lady's problem?
I don't know. Even she said that she's okay with her spending like all summer at their house. Mm-hmm. I don't see how it's that big of a difference.
Top comment. I can understand her initial reaction about not having a discussion, but let's face it, the discussion is really more of a formality for respect, not to make a decision. There is no debate about what needs to happen. Your marriage is doomed. I would bet my bottom dollar your wife will be your daughter's next bully while your back is turned. It will start as little comments here and there, gaslighting her that she's too sensitive or can't take a joke, that she needs to hear the truth from someone anytime your daughter stands up for herself, which in her current position, coming from extreme bullying, she probably won't. Your obligation is to your daughter. Don't let her down. NTA. That person agrees with me and thinks the wife is going to start bullying the daughter, and that's not cool.
No, it's really not cool. I agree with everything that commenter said. The discussion is really just a polite formality of you saying, hey, this is what's best for my daughter, so we need to make this work. And it sounds like you got put in a slightly awkward position where you didn't have a chance to have the discussion beforehand. But as an adult, your wife should just be like, hey, yeah, I agree. I kind of wish we could have talked about it, but of course I'm going to support your daughter. That's just what adults say in this situation.
Another comment. I get the gut reaction that your partner must approve of it when you have someone in your family move into the home. I really do. And in most cases, this is correct. It's generally a shitty thing to surprise move a family member into a home. This is not the case when the person in your family who needs to move in is your child who is a minor. Your responsibility to your daughter is your highest priority. If your wife can't stomach the idea of your daughter being your highest priority to you, then she should have never married you in the first place. If the relationship falls apart because of this, that's on her. NTA, I don't see this as being up for debate.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would argue that you are not surprise moving your daughter in. Surprise moving your daughter in would be turning up with your daughter and some suitcases and saying she lives here now. No, there's like time for you guys to prep. There was time for you to have a conversation after you said yes, because of course the answer is yes.
Yeah, like there's a decent amount of time for them to get things organized and get ready for the daughter to move in and to adjust to the idea. It's not happening overnight. I cannot express this to you strongly enough. How your new spouse treats your children from a previous marriage or relationship should always be under a microscope. Her reaction is completely unacceptable. If she says anything but welcoming and loving things to your 16-year-old, you need to divorce her. Full stop. So Reddit is firmly NTA, and they are very concerned that the stepmother is going to become this girl's newest bully. So her life really isn't going to improve.
Yeah, as adults, you really should always be on the kid's side. Today I effed up by accidentally stealing a cat, paying $400 in vet bills for it, and realizing it wasn't mine when I got home.
Oh no, is it a doppelganger? You hear about that happening sometimes, and it always cracks me up, and the person's like, and now I have 2 identical cats, because they end up keeping the one.
So this happened about 6 hours ago, and I'm currently staring at 2 identical black cats in my living room, trying to figure out how to explain this to my neighbors without sounding like a lunatic.
Oh no, it's the neighbor's cat?
For context, I have a black cat named Luna. She is a void black cat. No white patches, just pure darkness and yellow eyes. She is strictly an indoor cat because she has 0 survival instincts and is afraid of wind. Tonight around 7 p.m., I was taking the trash out, and I guess the door didn't latch all the way. When I came back inside 20 minutes later to feed her, I couldn't find her. I did the usual psst, 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 and shook the treat bag. Nothing. I went into full panic mode.
Oh no!
I grabbed a flashlight and ran outside.
Oh no!
I spent 15 minutes checking the bushes until I saw a pair of yellow eyes reflecting from under my neighbor's porch. I crawled under there, grabbed the cat, who was surprisingly docile but shivering, and dragged her out. I noticed immediately she was limping and had a weird gash on her ear. I assumed she got into a fight with a raccoon or something.
As fast. She's out there for 15 minutes and making fights.
I didn't even go back inside. I put her straight into the car and sped to the 24-hour emergency vet. I was crying the whole way, telling her I was so sorry I let her out. The vet took her back, cleaned the wound, gave her some antibiotics and pain meds, and did a quick checkup. The bill came out to $430. I slapped my credit card down, glad my baby was safe. We got home about an hour ago. I carried the carrier into the living room, set it down, opened the door to let her out gently. As the injured cat stepped out, my cat, the real Luna, walked out from behind the sofa, yawned, and hissed at the intruder.
What, I take a nap and you bring a stranger into my home?
Just immediately replaced.
How dare you?
I froze, looked at the cat I just spent $400 on. It's a male. I don't own a male cat. I had accidentally kidnapped a stray, or worse, a neighbor's outdoor cat, paid for his medical care, and brought him into my house.
Well, I mean, that seems nice. You paid for his medical care and got him medical attention. I don't see anything wrong with that. If anything, the neighbors should be pleased that you took care of their cat.
So now I have my cat, who is pissed off, and this imposter cat, who is high on painkillers and currently sleeping on my expensive rug.
You can't throw it back outside while he's high.
I have to go knock on doors tomorrow and ask if anyone is missing a black cat, and also explain why he now has a shaved leg and smells like antiseptic.
If this cat belongs to somebody, no good cat owner is going to be upset that you took their injured baby to the emergency vet and got them treatment, and they will gladly pay you back the money. Now, there are some bad pet owners who will be like, okay, I don't really care, but I'm not paying you back for that.
Yeah, even if it's someone's like outdoor cat, it's hard to believe there's any good pet owners who would be like, oh, my cat was limping and actively bleeding. You monster, how could you take them to the vet?
And if it is just a stray and it doesn't have an owner, now you have 2 cats. No downside there. You just got to do a little bit more of a slow introduction to make sure your new cat and your old kitty get along.
The cat will probably think he's been abducted by aliens after it wakes up with a hangover. OP replied to that, LMAO, he is absolutely zooted right now. He's currently lying on his back, staring at my ceiling fan like it's the mothership coming to take him home.
High cats are hilarious. I love cats who are high.
Yeah, he is absolutely tripping. OP has a few updates.
Okay.
We actually scanned for a chip at the emergency vet, and he doesn't have one. So he's either a stray or an escaped indoor cat with no ID. I'm blasting his face all over the local Facebook groups now, but if nobody claims him, I guess I just bought a cat.
Yeah, $400. A little bit of expensive for a cat, but...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Odin didn't cost anything near $400.
No, I think he was $125. And that came with all of him being neutered and all of his shots and his eye removed.
That's actually a good price for all of that.
Yeah.
OP also adds, to everyone concerned, yes, I'm keeping him if nobody claims him because I've literally already paid for his health care. He's currently sleeping in the bathroom so Luna doesn't murder him.
Yeah, now the issue is going to be a slow enough introduction so that Luna adjusts to having this interloper in her space. See? Eye removal. It was infected.
Oh, we just wanted him to look cool.
Yeah, we just wanted him to match his name of Odin. You know, Odin only had one eye. Could you remove one of his eyeballs for us?
Give him wisdom. It didn't work.
No wisdom for Odin, just a dumbass.
Sometimes there are glitches in the cat distribution system. We have identified this is your favorite version of cat. Please accept this cat.
That's our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time.